Well, I want to say hello, good morning, and welcome to our listeners from around the world. This is another great edition of This Morning with Soulivity, broadcasting from our studio right here in the nation's capital of America, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and I'm so glad you're here today. We have a fantastic guest with another great topic to talk about. But before I can get to that, of course, I have to introduce my beautiful and amazing co-host, Sheila Applegate. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning.
I have to include that you're the host of Soulivity TV's Consciously Awesome Living. I always have to include that
Yeah.
so that people know about that show. How has your week been?
Oh, I am just having an amazing week. I've had all the work I've done has been so joyful, but also so much time with friends, catching up with different friends, and so much laughter. And then today we have someone so special on. So I'm just beaming over here.
Oh. Well, there's so much to get to with her. I don't even want to do too much small talk today. I just want to jump right on in. Again, because I agree with you that she's a very special person. I've got to meet her virtually a couple of times. One with a workshop we just had recently on Infuse Your Finances with Joy, and through our platform here. And she's just simply lovely. Why don't we go ahead and get to that? And so, Chantel Frazier is an African American poet, born and raised in Syracuse, New York. Now, growing up on Syracuse's South Side, Chantel faced personal struggles as well as witnessing her peers' challenges in her community. And, and although they had all come from different backgrounds and circumstances, they were seen in the same light by many. She grew to understand this view of her community was covered by a veil that could only be lifted by someone willing to speak from an unbiased point of view. Now, in her early 20s, Chantel began depicting the world around her by gathering personal stories of herself, her peers, and immediate family, and turning those stories into a poetic explanation of life. Now, in her soon to be released book, Beloved Bruised Orange, Chantel sheds light on the societal misperceptions of surrounding the teenage upbringing of African American students, washing away the idea of a cycle of bruised community never waking up to their calling of healing themselves. And so, with that, it is my pleasure to welcome to This Morning with Soulivity, Chantel Frazier. Hey, girl.
Yes. Thank you. Hello.
Good morning. Good
Yes. Good
morning.
morning.
Oh man. Listen, I am so glad you're here. As we were talking about earlier, this is a topic that is really near and dear to my heart. And I'm so glad that as a poet and an author that you decided to capture this and immortalize this in your own way, in a creative, artful way. So thank you for doing this.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
We want to
Appreciate
remind
this
our
space.
audience, listen, you are a part of this conversation. We want your questions, your comments, your thoughts. Just post them right to our live feeds on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll get to you. We'll actually bring you into the conversation virtually. Okay. um Chantel, I mean, Beloved Bruised Orange is your way, your creative way of telling the stories of these misconceptions of
Yeah.
raising African American teens in communities like the South Side of Syracuse. I mean, you're using Syracuse as your center point, but there are a lot of communities that are very similar and probably have some of the same challenges. Tell us,
Yeah.
where did this come from? Where did you know the inspiration and the reasons behind you doing this book, where did that come from for you?
Okay, so living on the south side of Syracuse, visible from my street is the dome, Syracuse's dome,
Yeah.
Syracuse University's dome, and I feel like we've put a lot of attention on the university, rather than down the hill. So yes,
Mm,
there are people that are, growing and building at the university point, but people that are down the hill or beneath, so to speak, aren't able to express themselves or get to a point where they're heard or they're seen. It's
mm,
like we already have, an idea of who lives down here and what it is that they bring to the table, and if they do bring anything.
wow.
So
That must
Mm.
hurt. That
yes,
must really
it
hurt.
does hurt. And that's why I wanted to say, like, a bruised fruit or a bruised orange isn't necessarily rotten, just like, the black community isn't necessarily rotten.
Right.
Um, just because a fruit is bruised doesn't mean it isn't edible, and just because our community is bruised doesn't mean that we won't rename or reshape, um, the idea of what it is to be black and young.
Right. Right. Because I was just talking to someone yesterday about the fact that I think a lot of times we look at our youth and we say, well, you're the future, and
Mhm.
that's only what we see, and that in actuality you're our present too.
Yes,
you know
Mhm.
yes.
yeah, Sheila, do you have a question?
You know, Chantel, I'm thinking about, the first time we met in person and you were reading from your notebook some of the poems that are now being published in this book, and the inspiration inside of you that I saw. And you have a unique way of seeing the world, your community, the people with compassion, and yet I think you even say an unbiased point of view. Like you see all sides of it. Can you talk more about what it was like to grow up in this community and to be close to so many people who may have been struggling or in crisis, and to be able to embrace that while also taking care of yourself and following your own dream, because
Mm,
that's impressive.
mm, mm.
Yes, I would say that one of the, let me bring up shoplifting. So it's like viewing it,
Mhm.
yeah, viewing it as like inside the community. It's like we may need it, we may need to boost, we may need to steal. We don't have certain things, um,
Mhm.
but I like to think of it as to the point of there are other ways to get in what you need. There are other ways to, um, raising, you're getting your money up or switching the program, where we feel like we've been set into, like where we can't make enough money, or, things like, jail sentences, or things that have set us back to where we can't, jump straight into the workforce, or things have set us
Mhm.
back to the point where we kind of continue to do certain things and get into a cycle of taking ourselves away. Um, I feel like it's important to bring that up because, yeah, that may be something that you're doing, but once you learn your lesson once, we have to start telling ourselves that we can't continue to do something that's gonna hurt ourselves or hurt our name or hurt our image.
Right.
Um, it's kind of like, yeah, you may need it, but there's other ways to go about helping yourself out rather than, um, keeping yourself stuck to a certain narrative or idea because it hurts other people that are in the community. Like
Mhm.
myself, I can't go into a store sometimes and without, someone looking at me a certain type of way. And I've
Mhm.
grown to not look or feel any type of way towards the other person, or try to feel not to feel some type of way, because this is just, something that they're used to. So it's kind of like I have to break the mold, or other people have to start breaking the mold. So I think it's important for us not to act blind towards certain things,
Mhm.
and to actually kind of step up. or make a change, like I said, we have to learn from our mistakes, basically. And I feel like we make a lot of mistakes, and we kind of continue them on, and some of us break away from understand that we have made these mistakes, or we have to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love, Chantel, I love what you're talking about here, right? Because
Thank you.
and I'll ask this question. You're not saying that things like systematic racism and discrimination don't exist. It feels like you're saying, listen, that may exist, but I'm not going to allow these other people to hold my consciousness down, right? I'm going to
Yes.
do everything that I can possibly do to raise myself up and bring awareness into these communities, into my
Yes.
community, in terms of change that we all need to make an effect. Like this idea of being forgotten, that hurts me.
Mhm.
That really hurts me when you say that. Is that am I getting that?
Yes, that's true. I feel like you're right on point, because it does hurt, and it hurts to be viewed a certain way and to continue to be viewed a certain way,
Right.
by everyone, like in a whole, like it's like we're a melting pot. It's a mixture of people and
Mm-hmm.
situations and things that we have to go through. Um, but in a lot of cases, we're all looked at the same. It does hurt. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's like it's time to stand on something, so we don't, fall for anything.
Right. Right. Wow, Sheila, I'm just like, oof, that this no one should be forgotten.
Right.
No one. And the fact that we have whole communities where, like you were saying, Chantel, like you're looking up this hill, you're seeing Syracuse University, which is a celebrated,
Mm-hmm.
academic institution.
Mm-hmm.
And most people only know Syracuse for that, and the government and that kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
um you have this whole community that's there, that I'm thinking of communities like Flint
Mm-hmm.
and Jackson, where they still don't have water. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just,
Mm-hmm.
and people are fighting to do everything in their power to lift themselves up, and it's still a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
so
like to add that.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah.
It's-
Wow. Um,
yeah.
let's dig a little deeper into this,
Okay.
Chantel. We're going to take a quick break, but what I'd like to ask you is, uh, because this relates to the idea of this orange that you see, and this bruising that you see, around how you feel, more specifically, how you feel people outside of the community view your community, and what are some of the things that these people should consider when if they're going to think that way, right? Because you know the truth within your own community. So um
Yes.
why don't we dig a little bit deeper into that, and we'll have some more questions from Sheila as well, and we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more from Chantel Frazier as we talk about societal misconceptions of African American teens in different communities. We'll be right back.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. We're talking today about societal misconceptions of raising African American teens with a beautiful friend of ours, Chantel Frazier, who is a poet and also the author of an upcoming book named Beloved Bruised Orange. And she's out of Syracuse. She talks about her community there, specifically the African American community there that is judged and abused sometimes, from a macro kind of perspective. Chantel, tell us, what are some of the things that you get? What are some of the things that people outside of you, outside of the community, how do they view African American youth?
I wonder if
Chantel, you there? Did we lose her?
Yeah.
I think there we
no,
go.
they're there. Okay. No, we're there. Okay. It's all good. So did you hear my question?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we back online?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, can you repeat it again? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. Because I know this is, you as an artist, a lot of this conversation is hitting your heart. So I
Yeah,
get it.
I'm like,
How do people outside of the community view you and other youth like you in your community?
right. So I would say some people, a lot of the people that stay outside of this community are afraid of the city of Syracuse.
Wow.
They are afraid, and like I said, the dome is down the street from me or up the street from me. So it's like they're afraid to be on the south side or down the way, so to speak. They don't think that we have control over ourselves or our community. They think that it is kind of like almost like a free for all. Like you can see in like certain comment sections of the news reportings that they don't believe that we care about ourselves, and they call us animals and displace us a lot. So it's a bad view. I'm not saying that all people, but people look at me and they think that I live in the quote unquote better parts of the city, like East Syracuse and things like that. But that's just because of how I carry myself and how I was personally raised.
Mm-hmm.
But I could easily have picked up some of the, the environmental things around me and carried that with me. But no, so they don't look at us all as people that are, I would say, going somewhere or doing something. They feel like we have kind of halted after high school, or we didn't grow during high school, like dropouts and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I think that's so important that you took that image from the outside and you dove deep into share. In this book, you're sharing with the world the truth, the depth, the intricacies of some of the people in your community. Can you talk a little bit about and you're going to get to read some of your poems, so people will get to see it, and hopefully they'll buy the book when it comes out for sure. But what are some of the things that you really want people to understand about the truth about the youth in communities like this?
I would say to speak on single parenthood, single mothers, um, that's something, a topic I feel like is important, because a lot of people feel like students or Black children are just running aimlessly in the streets, and a lot of the times there isn't a two-parent household, or there isn't a parent who can be there, because that parent has to go to work and she can't monitor or make sure that her child is in the house or doing homework or isn't running the streets. So
Mhm.
I feel like single parent homes are is one thing that's important to pay
Mm.
attention to, especially when
Mhm.
it comes to growing
Yeah.
in this community.
And I'm remembering, I don't know, it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago when we connected, and, you
Yeah.
were just in your early 20s, right? And, you just already had
Yes.
vision. But I know, and I think you'll be fine with me sharing, like, because we talked about how even with this vision and this drive that you had, it was still difficult for you to push forward with
Yeah.
that and to focus on yourself and feel maybe this is projection, but maybe feel worthy of taking the time to follow your dream.
Mm. Mm.
Do you
Mhm.
wanna talk a little bit about that? And maybe for people to understand, but maybe there's somebody else out there who needs to be inspired and hear, that you can get through some of those, distractions maybe.
Yes, I count them as distractions, and I remind myself that where let me see. I would say that a lot of people don't support if it's different, if it's not something that they're used to, if it's not something that's liked overall by everyone. So what helped me to kind of get rid of those distractions, because it wasn't easy, I had to tunnel myself. I had to actually kind of like be in tunnel vision. I remember taking my notebook with me, my composition notebook with me to a friend's house. And I was working on my poetry, like I'm gonna write a book. And she kind of was like, "What are you doing with that?" And I'm like, "I'm getting my things together. I'm gonna write a book. I'm putting my poems together." And she was like, "Oh, okay," and kind of brushed it off. Not because it was something that she wouldn't be into, but just because it wasn't something that she was used to.
Mhm.
So I would say a lot of people, well, for myself, I had to separate myself from a lot of people, and I couldn't allow myself to let someone else's failed dreams or um, just kind of like a no real direction as to what it is that they wanted to do
Mhm.
um, interfere with my dreams or my wishes, because like it's like I keep things alive within me.
Mhm.
um, Even though I might put it to the side, it's like the idea of me coming out on top or me having success. I had this thing where I kind of like 11 I always wish for success, and they used to be like, don't tell anybody your wishes. But now that I'm older, I'm seeing that, well, maybe me putting that out there, it really worked, you know?
Right.
Mhm.
And now that I'm saying it out loud and proud, like I wish for success, it's starting to, I would say, it's unfolding, not because I've just been wishing, but because I've put in the footwork. I haven't
Mm.
Mhm.
started just now. It's like it's been time and overtime. So yes, 2017 and 18 is when I started writing the book, but I stopped and I had to like get that inspiration in 2019 when I met Sheila to go back into it with the Duna,
Wow.
because they helped
Mhm.
me as well. So
Wow.
then
Right.
I pushed it through to 2020, and I sent it in and the world stopped. And when the world stopped, I was like, wow, I was just about to get my book off the ground. But now we're in 2023. Yeah. So now we're in 2023, and it's like everything was happening. It's happened for a reason. And I just feel like for me, I didn't give up. I didn't
Mhm.
stop what I was doing or stop at one pinnacle. I just kept raising the bar. And it's like once I set one goal, I set another goal. So it's like putting aside anything outside of me and focusing on who I am and who I want to be. And I'm still reaching that. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
Um, a question really quickly before we come to. I really want. I don't even want to take a break. I want to get to some of your poetry next.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, where did this wealth of resiliency and perseverance come from for you?
I would say it came from my mother.
Mm.
Mm, mm,
I would say watching her throughout her life and the stories that she's told me have, I would say, propelled me in a sense. It's like, or she'd be like, I always wanted to write, but I couldn't do it, things like that. Or
yeah.
her telling me like, I used to want to get into that, but I'm glad you're doing it. It's like that feeling of, what, maybe she passed the baton to me and I'm able to kind of finish this race, but it's like a piece of her is finishing it with me. Like this is
Wow.
it's a marathon and we're on our way. Um,
Mm.
Wow. Wow. Well, to that point, do you have a poem that you would like to share about that, either about that experience or another kind of experience? Do you have a poem that you would like to share with us?
I guess I can read my single parent poem.
Okay, perfect.
So this poem is about my mother, and basically about how she was raising her children. My older brother, he was, I would say, more or less in the streets more. Um, so here's a poem.
Mm.
Okay. Being a single parent with children in high school isn't so easy. This is the turning point where most teenagers found out life wasn't so peachy. Reality hits for most of us at a ripe age. Like, if I don't go to work, these bills won't get paid. I'm a single parent working 3 different shifts to make ends meet. So please don't look down on me if my children are running the streets. It's not that home isn't where I want to be, but the fact that no one else will do it for me. 3 personalities, 3 different needs: emotional, physical, and mental. It's my job to divide and provide, giving them not always what they want, but always the necessity. I give my guidance through my struggle, smile through my pain, leaving myself enough personal time to cry in silence.
Hmm.
Overworking myself to balance out my wealth, putting aside my health. It's hard when it's only you, but as a single parent, it's just what you have to do. And that's it.
Wow.
It still brings tears to my eyes, even though I've heard
Ooh.
it. You're,
I'm over here holding it back.
It, as an African American male that has grown up in different, I mean, I think a lot of people look at my life. I kind of like what you were talking about when you go into certain parts of Syracuse and people think that you're not from that part because of how you carry yourself or how you dress or how you speak,
Mhm.
and they don't know the history. They don't know all the different challenges and things that you had to go through as a young black woman, and then also
Yes.
being a single parent, right? They don't get any of that. They don't understand any of that because they don't have to go through it. um
Mhm.
so thank you for sharing this. I mean, there's not enough hours in the day to
Yes.
to talk about this.
That's
There's a lot
true.
of pain within in it in the black community, and I think that it's important that we keep talking about it and keep sharing it in different ways. I mean, through music, through art. I mean, that's always been our outlet, right? Um,
True.
so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Hmm. You got me on that poem. I'm trying to. Yeah, yeah. Um, what are some things that, if you met a young mother of a newborn in the community, what would be some words and thoughts that you would give to her or him?
Mm.
Because there's a lot of men too that are single parents within this community.
Mhm.
What I would say to that single parent, that single young parent, is to know that um this isn't where it ends. It's like the beginning. It's not
Mm,
a end point of what it is that you want to do, when you have a child. You shouldn't give up. You shouldn't say, I can't go back to school, or I can't get this job, or I'm not going to be able to fulfill this because I have a child now. You should be putting in your head that you can achieve these goals, whether you start at a what you consider a low point. You're starting somewhere. It's like if you don't have any money and you decide I want to go into the healthcare field when you have a child. That's like something that I feel a lot of people do. I did that myself, and I don't even have any children. You go and you start somewhere as a PCA, and then you go to home health aide, then you get your CNA. By that point, you may decide that you want to be an RN or an LPN. I think right now, if I did see someone who was young, a teenage mother or a young teenage father, it's that you have to start somewhere. Even if you do feel like it's a pause or a break, you have to start. You can't tell yourself that you don't have the time or things like that, because I feel like that halts your successes. That makes you stagnate yourself when you do tell yourself that you're on a time constraint. It's a marathon, not a race.
That's
So
beautiful.
I think it's important.
Sheila?
Well, I'm thinking about, I'm going to want you to read another poem, but
Me too. Me too.
so think about that in the background. But you mentioned Aduna before, which we'll put up the link for aduna.org, but that is the first place you were published, right? In Aduna magazine.
Yes.
And then through that process, you have some accolades of grants. So can you just share a little bit about some of the opportunities and successes that you've had in the last couple of years as you prepare to launch your book?
It's a big testimony. I would say a lot. Yeah, I'm speechless. It's all came in spurts, like in the biggest spurts. I would say from going from the beginning, from 2019, like me meeting Sheila, that her being open to and willing to kind of like open my eyes and give me a different perspective of what it is to heal myself and open my consciousness to a different reality. I feel like that assisted me in being able to connect with people who just viewed life differently in an artistic way, in a spiritual way. So from there, I think I've went and wow, so much has happened. I went and I've performed recently, last year at Aduna's annual fundraiser. They've published 5 of my poems. Like I was saying, that was my time around 2020 when I sent in those poems. And world had shut down, and then Aduna had pushed me through, and they said, next year we're going to be doing this, and they put me at their fundraiser, and I was able to perform 5 of my poems that they published. From there, whew, life has been just rolling. It's feel like it's been a steady progression. I've been focused solely now on just the production of the book and printing of the book. Because it's been so it's been all over. I've paused and went and stopped and went, and now I feel like I'm reaching this pinnacle, this finish line. And I feel like along the step, like all this way, I've been like creatively supported by Aduna and by Sheila, by those who I wouldn't even imagine, just in different ways. Back to the grants, So then I was awarded grants. So I have 2 grants. I was awarded 2 grants from the CNY Arts here in Syracuse, New York. And those grants, one is for the community. I have a community arts grant and I have an individual arts grant. The individual arts grant is helping to push my book with a book launch and signing. And the community arts grant is going towards helping those who are youth at risk, and immigrant girls, and I believe, yes, immigrant girls in the RISE program and the Matilda Ben
Nice.
Johnson Gage Foundation.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo.
Congratulations, all
Yes.
of us.
My
Well,
goodness.
thank you so much.
God is certainly good. Mm, mm, mm,
Yes.
mm. How about another poem? What's a
Okay.
poem that's coming to mind for you right now in this moment?
Um, I would say this is Caps and Gowns.
And what is this one
So
about?
Caps and Gowns is basically a wrap up of the whole alumni chapter in the book, and it gives a breakdown of each poem that I put into the chapter, and just a wrap up, I would say. Kind of like Caps and Gowns. It's like the final point where people get into the stage of like the real world, where most people kind of like go out. Like I didn't know that when you graduated, you wouldn't see a lot of things from school. So it's like a touch of reality or a taste of reality.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Caps and Gowns, we made it. It's our year. And when it came to graduation, we weren't all there. Some were out living their lives with no care, others missing school because no one was there. We've seen young mothers graduating on and before their time. For them to feed their babies, they had to nourish their minds. A lot of our male classmates graduated who chose to stick to the school route, but even those who graduate in shots and shootouts. If you've been rushed in life to grow up, the best thing to do is finish what you started. Don't give up. Some did it not only for themselves but for their families. Some were the first to graduate from their family tree. Others did it to show themselves they pushed through for a reason. Happy it's over because they struggled, but they remain focused through all their feelings. So give yourself a pat on the back and remember, life accomplishments don't always start with a gown and a cap. And
Nice.
that's it.
Nice.
Wow. 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 Um
Thank you.
Now I know people, we're I know Sheila and I and others are waiting with bated breath for when and where we can buy Beloved Bruised Orange. Do you have a target date in terms of its release?
I would say the target date will be June 14th.
Okay.
That is when I'll have on hand copies of the
Okay.
book. And then from there, I'll do like a pre-order form,
Mhm.
and start to put it on a website to sell.
Well, would you come back
Of course.
for a little book launch party on Soulivity?
Yes,
Okay. Well,
of
that's done,
course.
girl. That's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's done.
Thank you.
Um, um, I am I am amazed by you, and you remind me that all is possible,
Thank you.
and that you are a living embodiment of our ancestors and the
Thank
ones that came before us, and that, you know, somebody's got to go first sometimes.
you. Hmm.
Somebody has to blaze the trail so that others can come behind. And you are
Yes.
definitely a trailblazer, Chantel. I hope you
Thank
understand
you.
that. And it is,
Yes.
yeah. How does that
Whew.
feel?
I think it feels it's different. It's really different, and I think I'm having to come to grips with this new idea of me being what I've told myself I was, or what I've
Mm,
seen myself as for a long time, and hearing that, and I hear it all the time, and it's just like being outside versus being inside is
right,
it's a work of
right.
art. You have to really work at yourself and work at the idea that you are accomplishing these goals. You are reaching these heights that you've set out to.
Right.
So it feels amazing to hear that I'm a trailblazer. And the acknowledgement, I believe, is the biggest part for me, to be
Mm.
acknowledged
Mhm.
as someone making a difference, or someone who has made a difference for themselves and their people in their family. That's a big thing. It's huge.
Wow.
Mhm.
Sheila, did you have any final thoughts or questions for Chantel?
Oh, well, I'm just thinking, Chantel, you know what? I feel like you were born a trailblazer, and
Yeah.
so you couldn't not be. But now, like you said, you've reached a point where you're acknowledged for it. I mean, I think people who have known and loved you throughout your life probably always saw this inside of you, but you beat all odds and you're here and you have a long way to go and a big path in front of you. And I just know if you stay true to who you are at your core, you're going to continue to do amazing things. And it's an honor to know you and watch you shine.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
You know, one thing that you said, and I think this is like the perfect way to kind of end our interview, is you shifted out of what would be despair, which I think that's what a lot of people in the African American community are battling every single day, and that is not falling into despair because of
Mhm.
all the things that that are happening, and the notions that you mentioned earlier around how people view us.
Mhm.
Did things shift when you shifted?
Yes. Oh, yes. I would definitely say that things shifted when I shifted. It was kind of like I am the catalyst to my own growth, or the growth around me. It's like,
Mm.
yes, I shifted, but it's like people around me had to shift too. So there weren't people that, and I didn't have many people around,
Right.
because my viewpoint changed and things like that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to sit alone, but understand that there were people that have shifted too. So it's like find these like-minded people, these like-minded circles, these people that kind of understand what it means to shift themselves, to change their own reality. It's like molding your reality to fit for you. And I think I've learned to mold my own reality.
Wow.
That's
Well,
incredible.
yeah. Well, we are glad that you came here and that you
Yes,
shared
I'm happy to be.
who you are with all of with both of us and our audience. Can't wait for you to come back and share this beautiful um, love story to us
Yes.
Mhm.
that is in Beloved Bruised Orange. We want to remind everybody that, listen, you can find out more information about the when and the where and the hows of how to get Beloved Bruised Orange by visiting Chantel's Facebook page. We also have that in our chat. We highly suggest that you follow her, because in a
Mhm.
minute she's going to blow up so big that it's going to be a lot more difficult to do so. So you want to get in now
Thank
and
you.
be her friend now. Um,
She could say, I knew her way back
I
when.
knew, yeah, I knew a win, right? Um,
Yes.
w- um, and so, yeah, and if you are an author out there that is looking to, uncover your new talents and that kind of thing, we also have the information on Aduna that's there as well. So please go out and check that out as well. I can't wait to see what's next, Chantel, especially with this book party coming up that we're going to have right here at Soulivity. That's our gift to you for being such a
Yes.
wonderful person and wonderful
Thank you
light
so much.
in this world. Um, so take care of yourself. Let us know if there's anything else that we can do for you, because we're here for you as you go through this next chapter. That you're closing one chapter and
Yes.
beginning a new one. So thank you for being here.
Yes. I thank you both. I appreciate you both. It was a pleasure. I
And
can't
I
wait to
will
come
be
back.
at your local book signing, giving you a big hug and buying copies
Uh,
of that book.
now I'm jealous. Now I'm jealous. I'm so jealous now. Anyway, listen, everybody, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have some final thoughts from me and Sheila coming up on This Morning with Soulivity. So we'll be right back in just a little bit.
Hey there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoy the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity, and we'll go to final thoughts. Sheila.
Oh, I just have to say once again, I think Chantel is amazing. Everybody follow Chantel Frazier and see where she takes us.
Woohoo! Absolutely. Chantel is just pure embodiment of something that we say here on Soulivity, and that is be the change that you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Be the change. It doesn't mean that all the things that are oppressive and discriminatory and prejudicial don't exist, but you do not have to pitch a tent in that. That you can, with that, by being the change that you want to see, you can create that change in those communities and help all those people move beyond the lack and limitation that exists in those thoughts and in those actions. We all have a part to play, including us. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Wow. As always, Sheila, you've got some really cool things happening in the world, especially with like your soul connection sessions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anybody interested in having a soul connection session that helps you connect to your soul, discover your life purpose, or connect with the beings from the other side, whatever it is you need for right now to take that next step, we have a discount for all of you here on this morning show in Soulivity, and it's capital Soul and 23. Just write that in when you sign up for a session, and you'll get $44 off. And you can find that at SheilaApplegate.com.
Perfect. And also, you've got a fantastic fractal illumination session coming up soon on June
We
3rd.
do, yeah. So this is an incredible afternoon of energetic upgrades, and it's almost impossible to put it to words. But if you need a consciousness shift or an energetic upgrade to help you through all the chaos of our world and find your center and be your most brilliant self, this is the easy way to sit back and receive it. So that's on June 3rd, and it can either be in person in the Syracuse, New York area, or for those of you not here, you can receive it energetically, and we have videos to show you how to do that as well.
And we're going to include that link in our chat so that you can learn more about that as well. Wow, this has been a fantastic show. I am beaming from ear to ear. The future is bright.
It is bright.
With people like Chantel Frazier and others out here who are doing this fantastic work. Wow, my cup is runneth over today. Which is all right, because I'll just share the tea with everybody else.
There you go.
Man, just want to thank our great partner out in Southern California, KMET, 1490 AM radio, also 98.1 FM radio as well. They're an ABC affiliate, and we have been having a ball providing information to all of the audience out there. Listen, to all our communities that are listening, if you have any kind of thoughts or show ideas on topics, please just email us at soulivity@soulivity.com. And maybe your topic will be featured on our show. And if it is, we'll do a shout out to you for that. You could possibly also win an Amazon gift card with that. So we'll get more information coming up around how you can do that. But we want you to be engaged in this. We love your ideas. We love your thoughts, and that you are part of this show as well. So, Sheila, I think we're at the end of our show. I know it's so sweet. We have to go. Listen, on behalf of all of us here at Soulivity, we want to say thank you for joining us for another episode of This Morning with Soulivity. This is how we do it every Monday through Friday. We hope that you come back and join us at 8 a.m. Eastern for our live broadcast, or you can listen Thursdays and Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific time on KMET 1490 AM radio for all of you out on the West Coast. Also remind you to follow us on social media, join our mailing list for even more access to exclusive content. And until next time, keep having real conversations with passion and purpose, and create a life full of high quality living today. We will see you next time. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.